welcome to coverage of the TCPlayer Max Point Invitational. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Frank Lepore.
How you doing, guys?
It's time for the finals.
That's right.
And we've got a hell of a
our
finals here,
journey.
Frank. We've got Paulo Vitor Damarosa, the Hall of Famer, the 9-time Pro Tour Top 8 competitor and champion.
These numbers are staggering to me.
Unbelievable. Versus Chris Fennell.
Pro Tour
also
Top 8
a
competitor.
Pro Tour Top 8 competitor, that's right.
Chris is actually known for his limited skills, which is it's great to see him shine in a standard in a constructed format.
Yeah, he is a limited specialist. I think in his own mind as well as most people's.
Yeah, that's
he
I think
considers
I think he'll
himself
agree
a
with
limited
that.
player.
Correct.
Yeah, but he can rumble, and he finds himself in the finals facing down Paulo Vitor Damarosa. And these players playing for a lot of money here. First place is going to take down $12,000.
That's a good amount of money.
Second is $6,000.
Well, you and I are getting $12,000 each too for this event, so
yeah, so
to me. we're just as good. We're in good shape now.
I'm very glad to hear that.
Yeah, I was going to tell you sooner, but I wanted to be surprised.
I appreciate that. This is so binding.
It's well, this is an awkward situation.
Am I going to be disappointed? All right, so Thoughtseize takes away Xenagos here in the early stages for Paulo.
Chris's deck is pretty interesting in that, like, when you cast something like Thoughtseize, there are so many choices that are very viable. Like, he could have just as easily taken Whisperwood or Death Mist Raptor. They're all very good threats. I mean, I think Xenagos is the choice because it's hard to remove. It's like it's going to take 2 removal spells, and it costs less than something like Whisperwood. But at the same time, Chris still has a lot of threats in his hand.
Paulo had to fight through mono red in the semifinals.
Those were some good games.
Yeah, went to game 5, and it was a good close one. But
There's
Paulo
so
found
many
the
games
wins.
where I was like, I don't know if Paulo's going to win this.
Definitely.
And then he did.
All right, there's Death Mist Raptor, though, from Fennell on turn 3. He just runs it right out there. Sure, Silumgar Scorn could have happened, but
He ain't scared.
Paulo either didn't have it or didn't want to play it, and he's going to pass the turn back to Fennell.
In the last match against Anthony Armenia, like, having 2 Valtog Invocations against the mono red deck is pretty solid. 8 life is no joke.
Yeah, that is huge amount.
And this little lizard man's getting in there.
All right, so Paulo drops down to 16. What's the follow-up for Fennell here? Well, an Elvish Mystic.
It's an Elvish Mystic.
And a land, and nothing else. So not a very exciting turn there for Fennell. He just added an Elvish Mystic and got in there for 3, but at least he's progressing his game plan forward here, and now Paulo has to decide how he wants to proceed. If he's got he's got an untapped land, so he's in kind of an awkward spot. He's got to dig through time. He can crack the Polluted Delta.
Still too short for
doesn't give him
time,
enough to actually cast it. So he's wondering if he needs to maybe fire off a removal spell here and fill up that graveyard to search further for dig with his dig.
Casting like something like Hero's Downfall and Death Mist Raptor is just like the worst feeling ever, you know?
Oh yeah.
You just never want to do it. It's like a band-aid for your arm gets sawed off and you put a band-aid on it. It's not really a solution.
So Paulo's decided that nothing is going to be the correct play here, and he does have access to just running out Dragonlord Ojutai here and saying, all right, here, you want to make threats? I got threats.
I got threats for you.
Yeah. I mean, right now, it's not a bad position
no,
to
it
be
seems
in.
fine.
He's facing down to Death Mist Raptor.
Chris doesn't have too much pressure.
Yeah, not much at all.
But Paulo does know that Chris can untap and play Whisperwood Elemental here.
Yeah, if he doesn't... Yeah, he that's true, and he does have a Hero's Downfall in his hand, so he's basically just...
giving him a free manifest.
Said, I'm going to allow this.
And I don't think Paulo's going to block this guy, so that's another 3.
Yeah.
There's old Wispy.
Paulo has 2 Crux of Fate in his main deck. He has 0 of them currently in his hand, but I'm sure he would love to see one here. He's going to have to delay it a turn to make it truly effective, and that's the problem, of course, with Whisperwood Elemental.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get rid of the Whisperwood first with like Hero's Downfall, then Crux of Fate.
But there's gonna be a lot of mess.
Fate will be cruxed.
Yeah, he's gonna need something like that even after he takes out the Whisperwood.
I think he's gonna do it right now. Just main phase it. Or are we actually? We might be in. No, we're on Paulo's turn because he's main phase. Because he had untapped mana. So.
And he's gonna pass the turn back. So. He's still working towards getting that Crux set up, but this is going to help. Just getting the 4/4 Whisperwood off the battlefield.
And we know he has Scorn in the hand, so
pressure.
this one is not going to resolve.
Yeah, Fennell probably just thought the same
And I was
thing.
like,
He's
wait a
Is
minute.
this actually going to
This
resolve?
isn't my first counterspell rodeo.
Right, so
Attack for
Rumble.
6. Puts Paolo down to 7. Not an unreasonable amount. He just puts him right into the graveyard.
Fennell with the sick read.
Oh, man. Sometimes you just know.
Yeah, there was a foul tongue invocation there for Paulo.
Well, we're going to crux and name dragons here. Or name non-dragons here, I imagine.
Well, he doesn't have the crux yet, does he?
Oh, I thought we did. I thought we saw it.
He was digging for it as far as I know. We'll double check. Let's
nope,
see.
just a foul tongue. Interesting. That changes things a little
So that's
bit.
what I was saying is that
guess
he's hitting with Dragonlord Ojitai
Yeah,
to try
so
to
trying
find
to
it.
dig for it, yeah.
Yeah, he's also managed to keep this board relatively in check.
There's a Bileblight, Hero's Downfall, land, maybe?
Yeah, something like that. He still has that dig through time as well.
That's a very good card as well. I feel like dig through time is one of those cards where you cast and you're like, oh, this put me real far ahead, so I guess I'll just win now.
He's going to pass a turn with full mana available here. Though right now Fennell is threatening to bring him down to down 6 to just 1 life, or maybe even less if that manifest is something he can turn face up. So Paulo's going to have to respect that. Though Fennell doesn't run any type of burn spells, he's not going to be able to finish off Paulo outside of in combat here.
So I imagine at least one creature is getting the axe here. I think we both know the Foul Tongue Invocation is probably going to hit the Elvish Mystic if Chris has his way, so he's probably going to use something other than that. Or we can use 2 things if he wants. That's also an option.
Yeah, takes a lot less damage in that
Foul
scenario.
Tongue. Yep. So he gains 4 and takes 1. So he would actually go to 6 here instead if he didn't get rid of like Deathmist Raptor as well.
It's like Chris picked up the Elvish Mystic, but has decided that's not necessarily the one he wants to sacrifice.
Yeah, I think it's always going to be... yeah, that's just the tiniest guy. We still don't know... we don't know what the manifest is here either. It could actually be a creature. And if he does Hero's Downfall the Deathmist Raptor, he could just flip it up, get him back.
Alright, so Paulo's not going to use his Hero's Downfall on either of these creatures. He's going to take the 5 and go down to 6 here.
There's a Dragonlord Atarka in Chris's hand.
Yeah?
Crack both lands.
Yeah, he's going to make
Seems
sure...
fine.
He's going to run it out there, it looks like.
Minimize.
This also could be... does he have a Genesis Hydra or anything like that?
Not that I saw.
Because he doesn't actually need...
I wouldn't be surprised if this was a card that he can... this manifest was something he could flip up.
Yeah, I doubt it. So it's probably just going to be Dragonlord Atarka, which is going to get snap countered by Silumgar's Scorn here.
Man, Silumgar's a real jerk.
Yeah, you just don't want him mad at you.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
You just stay on his good side. You'll be fine. 6 to Palos.
Ooh, there's that Crux we were just talking about, though. It doesn't look quite as impressive now.
I agree.
Maybe he still fires it off.
Still a 2 for 1.
If he had one more, if he had an untapped land and a Silumgar's Scorn, he would be pretty much locked here. Chris Fennell's on 3. He just needs to make sure that he keeps Dragonlord Ojitai alive. Looks like he's thinking about if he wants to just Bileblight.
He has a lot of options here.
Threat here. He can also leave up Dig Through Time.
Dig Through Time is also a viable option as well. The nice thing about the Esper deck is that there's so many 2-mana spells. Like he has Silumgar Scorn, Ultimate Price, Bileblight. Like he has a lot of answers that he only has to leave 2 mana up for. Yep. Get in there. 2, 3, 4, 5. Seeing how much his Dig Through Time is going to cost, I imagine. Looks like it's only going to cost 2.
Now there's no real problem going to 1 though against Fennell,
No,
right?
he just doesn't have burn spells. I mean, Xenagos is kind of a burn spell, and then it can make the hasty guy, but that's pretty much the extent of it.
Yeah, and we're already in combat, so that's off the table.
He doesn't have any Crater's Claws in the list. So.
No, he doesn't run those.
Which I kind of like Crater's Claws. It's kind of like a reach spell.
Okay, here's Dig Through Time. his number one priority is making sure that he protects Dragonlord Ojutai and makes sure there's nothing that comes down on Chris's side that can get in the way. If he can just get hit with it one more time, the game ends. It'll be over.
Chris is at 3, Paolo's at 6, and
yeah. So all he needs to do is keep his life total at 1 or more and crack in there one time with Dragonlord Ojutai, and he'll have sealed up this first game. Now, there are a few things that could go wrong. The manifest could get flipped up and be bigger, which would force Paolo to deal with it. Also, Fennel could have something like another Dragonlord Atarka to come down and burn out Ojutai and put up a huge threat.
A land and an Ugin is a reasonable...
There you go. But Paolo falls to 1. And this is just going to be another Whisperwood Elemental, and I don't think Paolo really cares about that very much.
I think that's not going to do it.
Paolo's looking at his hand like, can't imagine why I'd care about that.
Do I win?
He's going to Hero's Downfall at the end of the main phase.
Yeah, so he doesn't get the manifest token.
And then he's going to attack, so that's going to do it. Paolo Vitor.
I was like, let me see what this was.
Yeah, what was this the whole time? Looks like it was
Looks
a
like
Genesis
Hydra.
Yeah,
That's
not the
that's
ideal
the
flipper
worst.
there. All right, so that's going to do it for game 1 of our championship match here. The winner's going to take home that beautiful trophy sitting in front, as well as $12,000.
That's a good amount of money.
Yeah, fill it up with money. The runner-up here is going to take home $6,000 and not that trophy.
Yeah, that's very... it's right up in your face right there.
I kind of like it there.
Do you?
Yeah, although you can see some of our tape. Oh, the mini trophy.
It got much smaller. There's a Christian Calcano wandering in the background.
I liked it in the front. It's okay.
Marshall liked it in the
I
front.
was just telling Rashad I liked it in the front.
So what do we have as far as sideboarding goes? Paolo?
No,
I feel like Paolo's probably played this match quite a bit. He's got 2 Disdainful Stroke, 1 Thoughtseize that probably comes in. Ashiok seems pretty good, maybe?
I don't know about Ashiok. Definitely the Disdainful Strokes will come in. Chris has a lot of potent, big threats, and they all need to be answered.
Does he keep Foul-Tongue Invocation in or not?
I doubt it.
It just doesn't seem good with all the manifest
creatures
creatures
and the 1/1s.
stuff.
Yeah, also, Chris doesn't threaten his life total so directly that the 4 life is huge.
Right.
Now, if he has some dead cards, he may bring those in as a last resort against something that he just feels like isn't doing enough. But I don't think he does.
I think his deck is actually pretty well positioned against the
I think you're right.
green devotion deck.
Yeah, now looking at Fennel's sideboard, let's see what he's got. He's got a couple of Hornet's Nests. That's not a thing. He's got 3 Nylea's Disciple. That's definitely not coming in. Another Den Protector,
that
which I think he would bring in. Yeah.
Reclamation Sage is basically a blank.
Yep, it's a blank. Arbor Colossus. Now that one's kind of interesting to think about.
I think that guy would be fine. It's just it's a must-answer thread. It gets rid of the dragons.
Yeah. It's probably okay. I mean, Paolo is running Dragonlord Silumgar, which is a threat that you do need to answer later.
You can't really... It's got reach, too, so he can block your creatures.
Now, he's also got a Xenagos Reveler, so another one of those, and I think he likes those. That bumps him up to the 3rd one.
Yeah, I think that's a very good threat. I think the next card is very relevant.
Yeah, so he's got 2 Plummet.
Yeah. That seems very good in this matchup.
It does. I mean, you want those cheap ways to interact with Ojutai. Ojutai attacks, you plummet it. Yeah, you can do that on your turn. Or on their turn, you can save up your mana for that. The next one's important too. He's got 2 Nissa Worldwaker,
that is
which
a very
is just
good threat
another
against
very potent threat against Paolo. And I think you'd bring those in for sure.
And finally, one Ugin the Spirit Dragon.
Yeah, and my guess is that he doesn't want that, though. It wouldn't shock me to see it.
I feel out of all of Chris's top end threats, that's probably not one of the better ones.
Yeah, his deck is so packed with absurdly potent threats, too. He's got Genesis Hydra, which is just a nightmare for the control decks to deal with.
Whisperwood Elemental has to be dealt with at a specific time. Or else
almost immediately,
or
it just threatens to completely go off on its own.
Is Polukranos that good in this matchup?
No, it's not that good in this matchup. It's still a nice threat, like you played out there on turn 3. Yeah, you turn 3 ball it and just...
You remember Iwamori of the Open Fist? It was a 5/5 for 4, same cost as Polukranos from Kamigawa block. But it was a legendary creature. The downside was your opponent got to put a legendary creature from their hand into play.
What?
Yeah, so back in the day, 5/5s for 4 allowed your opponent to put a creature into play for free.
So they just came with like a potentially massive downside.
Oh, like a drawback, yeah. Now look at them.
Now it's just pure upside, yeah.
It's pure upside. And if you're just a 5/5 for 4 mana, you're not even that impressive by yourself. Magic has come a long way. That was Kamigawa block. That wasn't even like Tempest. You know, that was like
Yeah, it was modern era.
yeah, it was like
Yeah.
near Ravnica. It was around that time. You know. There's a Seth Manfield in the background.
Yeah, it looks like he's getting ready for a fight, doesn't it?
I think he's actually like, yo, Paolo, let's go.
You know what he was doing? He was playing against that guy on the left over there, Christian Calcana. Do you see him?
Yeah.
Yeah, they had a pretty intense Winston draft going on at back
Whoa.
table. Lots of fun stuff happening
Winston draft is pretty
while
sweet.
they wait for their friends to finish up here.
Seth and Chris Fennell chatting.
Yeah, and while there's no big trophy and $12,000 for the prize, Christian Calcano did win that.
Oh yeah, you get bragging rights.
Yeah.
You crushed Seth
Oh,
Manfield.
and he exercised those rights immediately.
Yes. Hey guys, I just crushed Seth Manfield in
Looks like
Winston
Paulo
draft.
needed a quick snack here too. Yeah, this is going to be sweet.
Christian Calcano, recent Grand Prix winner as well. And Seth Manfield.
Yeah, he won in Atlantic City.
Yeah. Home
Two-time
turf
GP
too.
champ.
He's from New York too, so.
And he's making a run at platinum this year as well, Christian Calcano.
I feel like he's always making a run of platinum though. Chris loves the game of Magic, man.
Yeah, well,
Christian
he hasn't
Calcano
gotten it
loves some
before,
Magic.
so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
this is hopefully he gets it on this run. I know he's got a lot of fans out there. Great guy. All right, game 2 just about underway here. Chris Fennell versus Paulo Vitor, and Paulo's up a game. He was able to take that game 1 through all of the threats that Chris Fennell has, and boy does he have a lot of them.
his deck is basically just threats and ways to cast threats.
Yes, that is effectively all he's doing. All right, let's go ahead and tell the players to fire it off here. Yeah, for in between games, producer Josh, they can just go. We'll catch up to them. Yeah, anytime. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, we
They're
have not
still
decided our
mulliganing.
mulliganing situation yet.
Yeah, I just didn't want them to think they were waiting on us.
Yeah.
So they can just go. We'll work around them.
Don't worry about us, guys. It's your show. We're just watching it.
All right, here we go. Temple of Abandon, first things up for Chris Fennell.
So 2 lands that come. There's a lot of lands in Standard that come into play tapped. There's 3 cycles of lands that come into play tapped in Standard.
Yeah, they all see play in various forms.
It's true. There are like life gain lands, scry lands, and the tri lands. All 3 of which
Come
see
on, man.
play.
Call them gain lands. They're gain lands.
What did I say?
You said life gain lands.
That's-
It's
oh.
pain lands and gain lands.
I said life loss lands instead of pain lands. There's the life loss lands,
All right,
and then there's the 2 life loss lands.
Disdainful Stroke is going to take care of Xenagos. So stage 1 complete for Paulo. The first threat that Chris Fennell put on the stack has been answered. And they often do need to be answered there.
Look at that Elvish Mystic hiding in the forest.
Yeah, well, it jumped out.
It's ambush.
Yeah.
It has flash.
I do see a plummet in hand for Fennell, so those did come in as we predicted. And this is a big
Understandably
one
so.
here. He can... Oh, he's just going to play a face-down morph, so he's going to play around a Silumgar Scorn a little bit here. Play a
Oh,
land in
Elvish Mystic
Rumble.
making first blood.
It's pretty good. Now, Chris, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know if he had an untapped land, but he does have Nissa Worldwaker at his hand here. Paulo's going to play Temple of Deceit, put the card back on top, and ship it.
Remember Llanowar Elf? What happened to that guy?
Well, he's kind of right there.
It's not the same.
It's like his
No,
great-grandson.
That's his heir.
Yeah.
His card should just be called Heir to Llanowar Elf.
Yeah. Elves.
Heir to Llanowar Elves.
Yeah.
Yes, there was no Llanowar Elf. There was no just
Yeah,
one.
that was before they
The card referenced the whole group.
figured that part out. Yeah, Grizzly Bears and all that. All right, so now is Fennell feeling comfortable
Does
enough
Paolo
to
have a
fire off a
counterspell in
big
hand?
thing?
I see a dig and like a bunch of lands.
You know, that's a good question. Let's take a look. No, that's a negative.
So if he plays Nissa, it's just.
It's game-ish. Like, I wouldn't just say the thing's over, but
I
if
wouldn't
he,
say. Yeah, I didn't say.
But I mean,
it just sticks.
it is close to game. Like, if he plays it, he gets in there for 7 damage.
Oh, he doesn't want to do that. Oh, he gets his Xenagos back.
And it looks like he might just try to
Oh, he's gonna
recast
play
that,
that?
and that's going to resolve.
What's happening?
This is sweet.
Wow, that was a good series of plays there.
Yeah, I mean, anything
Attack
that
for
Fennell did, as
5?
long as he used up his mana there, would have been good, just because Paulo can't do anything
And
about
that's the thing
them.
about this deck. Like, all these threats are very, like...
Crux off
well,
the
that's
top.
pretty good. But he still
It'll
gets to
help.
get the Xenagos.
It'll help. Yeah, it's not the end all, but it will.
That Elf in the Forest is gonna... What? Oh, wow. Paolo did not play a land that comes into play on tap there.
No, I think he wants to wait anyway. Right now it's just killing a Den Protector and a Satyr. He can get an additional Satyr. Now he's going to get a Forest as well.
That's the end.
But that's going to do it. Yeah,
Jeez.
2 Planeswalkers is too tough. The Crux of Fate helps you after you
I
stabilize
feel like Paolo didn't
post Planeswalkers, but unfortunately it doesn't help you protect from them because you wipe the board. They immediately make 6 power worth of haste creatures and kill you.
The hand does not seem. The hand just didn't seem very proactive.
From Paulo?
Yeah.
Not at all.
It's just it didn't have any way to deal with planeswalkers, creatures. Like it was basically dig through time and a bunch of lands. And as we know, dig through time is not a cheap spell.
No, that's your late game play.
It might as well cost 900 mana.
And Fennell's job is to make sure that there is no late game. So
That is, or that he exceeds in the late game. I mean, if we're pitting these two decks against each other for the late game, I feel like Chris is heavily advantaged there.
really, I think Paulo might be. If this game goes really long,
actually-
I feel like Paulo's the one who's winning it. Now, not that Chris can't do powerful things in the late game. He absolutely can. And, if he draws enough Genesis Hydras, then, yeah, he will take over
I think
this
it's an
game.
interesting situation because I feel like Chris has a bigger late game, but Paolo has a more elegant late game.
It's true.
Like, Paolo wants to dance with you in the late game, Chris just wants to run over you in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, look, Chris does have late game threats that can be pretty devastating.
Yeah.
Basically,
Atarka,
your Den Protectors.
Whisperwood Elemental.
See, the thing is, like, with the Atarkas and the Whisperwoods, I feel like Paulo could set up a late game where he can 1-for-1 with those.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, but the Genesis Hydras of the world,
Those are
you're
very
not 1-for-1ing
solid.
with those. Your Den Protectors, like, if he can sneak one of those down, it's
Yep.
like, those end up being a 3-for-1 a lot of the time because they'll get back another one and maybe a Death
Maybe
Miss
a Rap-
Raptor.
Raptor.
Yeah, and you're just like, ugh.
Okay.
To us? Okay. All right.
Hey,
Hi.
guys, how you doing?
Producer Josh says he wants to see us on camera.
Well, you're beautiful. You're
Yeah,
a beautiful gentleman.
Don't know why, but here we are.
So, yeah, we're just waiting for the players to shuffle up and 1-1.
They're having a little chatty chat,
This
too.
is actually this match is going pretty quickly.
So far, it
We're
has.
2 games down. We're going to game 3.
Looks like the basketball game somewhere in the third quarter,
That's,
for those interested.
Marshall's got the old NBA.com up.
I do what I got to do, Frank.
You gotta get your fix somehow, man.
Yeah.
He's already made plans tomorrow morning to go shoot some hoops
Yeah, that's in the
with
books.
some well-known players.
Indeed. So we're going to get a good old-fashioned 2 out of 3 here to finish things off.
Yeah, now it's 1-1.
Though it is all post-sideboard.
That's true.
So that
So it's not an
isn't
old-fashioned
quite
one.
the same, but yeah, this is going to be sweet.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Any predictions from your end, Frank? What are you seeing here? Is it looks pretty close to you?
This
Is it
matchup seems
lopsided?
fine for both decks. Like, it feels like both decks have a good matchup against the other. I don't think one is heavily favored, especially after what we've seen this weekend. I've seen Red Green Devotion beat Esper, and I've seen Esper beat Red Green. I think I want to say it's draw dependent, but there's also a lot of good decisions that have to be made during the match as well. So,
Yeah.
and I think these are 2 players who are going to make the right ones when presented with them. So.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it is interesting because we saw in that game that Paulo had a little bit of an answer light hand,
Yes, that was the problem.
and Fennell had a mana accelerator. And it was an Elvish Mystic this time, but then it was just like threat.
And this is your classic control deck versus more of like a mid-range deck, where the mid-range deck is going to present a lot of answers, a lot of questions, and Paolo has to present a lot of answers. And if Chris can present more questions than Paolo has answers for, then Chris is just going to win, and that's exactly what we saw happen.
Yeah, it just overwhelmed him.
And dig through time is you're looking for answers, but if you can't cast it, you're not going to find them.
Be interesting to see if Paulo can keep Chris Fennell either off of his mana producers or off of the big threats. I've seen Paulo
good
take
for Chris.
Yeah, I've seen Paulo take different lines with that. He's got a pair of Cruxifates in his hand here, so he's going to be focusing on the Planeswalkers to
I see
probably
quite a
let
few
Chris.
mana guys in Chris's hand. I also see a Den Protector and a Whisperwood Elemental. These are all very good cards against Paolo.
This is really interesting. Paulo leads off with land and then Caves of Quello, so Chris knows that he can resolve whatever he wants here. Because Paulo doesn't have double blue up.
Yeah, or
And-
doesn't have double blue.
Yeah, still doesn't have double blue up.
Yeah, might have a heroes. He's got a hero's downfall in there, but that's not going to kill a Sylvan Caryatid. What do you say, Caryatid or Caryatid?
I say Caryatid because that's the correct way to say it.
That's never stopped anyone before, Marshall.
No, I know that. I've been told I shouldn't say it that way.
Really?
Yeah. Because other people say it wrong.
Well, they believe their way is correct.
You wouldn't believe who told me that.
I probably would not.
Yeah.
Yep, play land, gain a life. Look at this Genesis Hydra just staring Paolo in the face.
Yeah, it's not good news. All right, well, there's a polluted delta. It's his second one. He actually had double blue that whole time, just didn't play it. I
Didn't
wonder
feel like
if
it was
he's,
relevant.
you know, well, no, I think he might actually be sort of encouraging Chris to develop out his board so he can get him with his Crux of Fate.
That would be next level.
Well, Paulo's on about 4 levels above that, so.
That's pretty excellent. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Paulo has both Crux of Fate in his
attack
hand
with the
as
Courser.
well.
First blood. So Paolo's probably going to drop to 17 after he cracks this fetch land. There's old Whisperwood.
Yeah, so
I
again,
assume it's gonna
Crux
be
of Fate not good against this, so Paulo
Hero's got a Hero's
probably going to
Downfall
have to
first.
Hero's Downfall here. He
Which
may
is-
be tempted to just Hero's Downfall and then Crux of Fate. That would leave Chris Fennell with just 3 forests and a Nykthos.
And the funny thing is, like, Chris has a Xenagos on top of the library. We know he has Wooded Foothills in his hand to get a red, and we just saw him draw a Genesis Hydra. So, like, Paolo knows there's a lot of very resilient threats coming down.
Right, but if he only untaps with 4 mana, maybe 5. Especially with no red visible.
Yeah, but as soon as he cruxes, he just plays Xenagos, which is right on the top.
Yeah, but Paulo
but you're talking about
doesn't know if he's
Paolo,
got red.
Yes, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, like, if Paulo cruxes here and Fennell doesn't have any red mana, his next turn could be blanky, you know?
Yeah, but to be honest, like, if I was Chris and you had to spend Crux of Fate, Hero's Downfall for Whisperwood, Courser, and Sylvan Caryatid, I think I'd be fine with that. It's a 2 for 3.
It's a 3 for 2, yeah.
Yeah, but... Wait, what?
So he looks like he
he'd
decided
let
to
him
wait till end
manifest
of
it.
turn because now he gets to kill Xenagos.
Yeah, which makes
That's
sense.
pretty sweet.
There's another Genesis Hydra on the top. That was actually a very good play by Paolo.
Told you.
You know what? I'm going to let you manifest that.
Nexter level. Guy's insane.
They don't let anybody in the Hall of Fame, let me tell you.
No.
Boop. That was a little Rashad Miller making one of his final appearances of the weekend. All right, you ready? Let's see if the Fates get cruxed.
Oh, they're definitely getting cruxed.
Get cruxed. Oh, they didn't get cruxed.
Well, so he can do it this way because he knows what the down card is. He knows that there's no attacks possible here.
No profitable ones anyway.
Yeah, and there's no downside on the crux because he's just going to name non-dragons anyway. I did not know he had a Dragon Lord
I didn't see it either.
Yeah,
that's
that
why
is just fantastic for Paulo.
That seems better. Ooh, freebie.
It is a little bit annoying for him, but he's probably hoping that Chris Fennell goes for some big Genesis Hydra, which he knows he drew.
Wooded Foothills, not ideal.
And he can get, hopefully for Paulo a couple of creatures into play and really maximize on this Crux of Fate here.
And once you start getting the Ojutai train rolling with your free anticipates, like, it's just very hard to beat that. Like, it's basically it's essentially a mini tutor every turn. And Paolo's deck is so packed with
and
with
additional
answers.
Fennell is just not well suited to answer a card like Dragon Lord Ojutai.
Agreed. I mean, we know he has Plummet.
Yeah, he's only got 2 in this list in his whole 75.
Could be. I mean, did we see one in his hand earlier, or was that last game?
That was last game,
Okay.
but he could have one here too.
No, this is 6. I think he's just Genesis Hydring for
Yeah,
4
this is
here.
exactly what Paulo wanted. Now, let's see what he hits. Oh,
Xenagos.
he hits Xenagos. Well, that's actually not that good.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just going to get snapped off by Ojutai.
Yeah,
here
Ojutai just
anyway.
kisses Xenagos, and then he
Yeah,
cracks the face.
so this is still playing
naming
directly into
non-dragons.
Paulo Viter's hands here. This is exactly what he wants to happen. And if this is the last play, if it's just make a Satyr
Pass,
go,
it's
then
not good.
then Paulo is going to absolutely wreck the board state of Fennell, leaving him with just the 5 lands left.
Yeah, there's a Courser Crew fix. That'll.
Not a bad magic card.
No, I hear that guy sees a little bit of play every now and then. So next turn, oh god, it's so bad because like when Chris untaps, Pala still has an Ojutai into play that needs to be dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get to crunch in and kill Xenagos. He won't get to do the free anticipate this turn, but...
I mean, Chris gets an untap and go another, second Courser, face down, Mystic, Radical Mystic maybe, but I mean, the fact that Ojutai is still on the board, still attacking for 5, still anticipating, it's just not great. I mean, the other option is Xenagos can +4 or +1 and add 4 mana, and Chris can do something with that, but I don't think that's a good play either. What are you thinking about here, Chris? What's on your mind, buddy? I think he might be thinking of whether to use Xenagos' mana and put like a morph creature into play. Like whether he's playing into Crux of Fate or not.
Alright, well, he's going to make a Satyr.
Satyr? I barely know her.
He's probably looking at the board like, wow, if he has Crux of Fate, this isn't very good.
He could also Alpha here and deal 4 damage.
Yeah, I mean, he would be getting more value out of his creatures than he will be.
Right.
But he would give up his Courser of Crufix in the process.
And he does know there's one on top, though, so he might not be too afraid. I mean, if you're Chris, you have to anticipate a Crux of Fate coming, right?
Oh, you have to certainly consider it. I mean, Paulo has 2 of them in his deck. You know, you don't want to get caught off guard by it, but it doesn't mean that he has to have it. It's not like it's a 4 of in his deck or whatever. All right, so here we go. Here's the big payoff play. Crux of Fate after killing Xenagos.
This is the moment we were waiting for.
Yeah, and Paulo set this up absolutely beautifully.
And we saw it. Like, unfortunately, we had to see it coming from a mile away, so we just had to watch in horror as Chris marched his troops into the firing line.
He deployed his threats, and they were swept away. So now he's got a pretty tall task here. He's got to rebuild his board. He just drew a Courser of Crufix.
And we know Paladin has another Crux of Fate in hand.
Yeah, they never play around the second one, do they?
Remember when Wrath of Gods cost 4 mana instead of 5? Yeah, they're certainly doing a fine job just at 5.
I do remember that. All right, so here it is, Courser of Crufix revealing Nissa. Okay, so the hits keep rolling for Fennel here. Fennel can also add a Den Protector face down if he'd like. Though I do suspect that Paulo would take the opportunity to Crux again, most likely.
Yes, I mean, I feel like if you're Paulo, you're so far ahead right now with your board position and your card advantage that, like...
Yeah, he did miss a land drop last turn, Paulo, so he's got a...
Which is rough for a control deck. Like, with a control deck, you always want to hit your lands. Yeah, Chris has 3 mana and a couple options. He can also play, like, Rattle Mystic face down, Rattle Mystic face up.
Wow, he's going to shuffle away here. So there it goes. That's interesting.
Yeah, that was a good...
This is one of his better threats, but he really wanted to get another one on the battlefield here.
A good card on the top of his deck there. That is now gone to the ether. I think that's actually Rattle Mystic. I don't think that's Den Protector.
Okay, well, he had a Den Protector in his hand. He must.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. I'm not saying it's gone. I'm just saying, like, yeah, it's still in the front there. So that's a Rattleclaw, which makes his Genesis Hydra better next turn if Paolo does not Crux again. But
well, in the meantime, Dragonlord Ojutai is going to hit
cracking in there
for the full 5, and yeah, get him a card here. Got a pretty dragon-heavy hand. I think he took a Silumgar.
It looked like a Scorn, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
The Scorn doesn't fall far from the tree.
Oh, and this actually worked out pretty well for Chris. He got Paulo to use Bile Blight on his Rattleclaw Mystic, which means that the Den Protector is still safe in his hand and can get back anything from the yard. So that worked out pretty well.
Well, I know he has a Scorn though. I don't know what's going to resolve here actually. Did you just play Genesis Hydra here? Maybe 1, 2. maybe not for 4. It's not very good. There's a Whisperwood Elemental on the top, so
Yeah.
if Chris can play a land and then Genesis Hydra for 5, we can get a Whisperwood Elemental. If he counters the Genesis Hydra, Chris still gets a Manifest token, and then he also has Whisperwood Elemental in play as sort of Crux of Fate insurance. There's the land. Gain a life. Go back to 20. Like nothing ever happened. I think you just Genesis Hydra for 5 here, right?
Yeah, that seems like the right play to me, because it
Paolo
cares
can't.
less about him having a counterspell,
Yeah.
and it guarantees you're going to get the Whisperwood Elemental.
And Paolo can't Hero's Downfall here with only 1 black up. I mean, he can counter the Genesis Hydra, but you still have Whisperwood, Manifest, and Courser of Grufix, and you're going to definitely be able to sacrifice the Whisperwood at the threat of a Crux. Oh, I don't think he agrees, though. I think he's just going to run out Den Protector. That's a good point. He actually, because he played the Wooded Foothills, he actually has to fetch and get rid of the Whisperwood Elemental, so that's unfortunate.
All right, so Silumgar Scorn is going to counter the Morph, which is a Den Protector here. Yeah, so he wouldn't be guaranteed the Whisperwood in that scenario, but still.
There's a Sylvan Carry added. Just another,
Yeah, with that turn, it really does feel like Paulo has begun to turn the corner.
Yeah,
on
I
this
don't feel like
game.
that was very successful.
This was his second hit with Dragonlord Ojutai. Dragonlord Ojutai also having killed Xenagos, so putting on a clinic
Yeah.
is the great teacher here.
Paulo's
He's,
playing some
he's
tight
not
games
fooling
with
around.
this.
There's no doubt about that. And somehow Paulo has missed like 2 or 3 land drops now, but his hand is all dragons.
I think maybe is it even intentional? Is he not seeing lands, or is he just not taking lands?
No, he took another Silumgar Scorn here, I think. I think that he realizes that, for the most part, Fennel can just play 1 threat a turn. And he's on the Ojutai plan. All right, there's Wooded Foothills getting cracked after Chris draws the Whisperwood Elemental.
Which makes sense. You want to draw the Whisperwood, and then you can actually maybe hit another land here.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Let's see. Let's see what we hit. 1 time, Sylvan Carry added. I bet you it's a Sylvan Carry added. It's another Whisperwood.
It's still Whisperwood.
Man, that's actually good, because now he can Genesis Hydra again.
That's true.
And that's a foolproof way of actually, quote unquote, casting a Whisperwood Elemental that can't be countered. Does Hello have? Looks like he has another Ojutai, a couple Silumgar Scorns.
He's got 2 Ojutais and a Silumgar.
I don't think he has a Hero's Downfall or anything that can deal with.
He's just got that Crux, I believe.
Yeah, his hand's not looking that great, actually.
Well, if he hits a land, he can play Dragonlord Silumgar and just kill the Whisperwood that way.
He'll never hit that land, Marshall. Don't be ridiculous. 1, 2. Yeah, I think you're just going for. I would feel like just go for 6 here. I mean, the best part of Genesis Hydra is that it basically gives you a free way to play a spell that can't be countered. So, like, if you Genesis Hydra for 8, like, you can play an uncounterable Ugin, which is just huge. Or, for example, Whisperwood Elemental. That is also a huge option that can't be countered. I mean, at least with, like, Cascade and Bloodbraid Elf, you could always counter the spell that they cascade into it if that was better for you. Genesis Hydra don't care, though.
Looks like Fennel's not in a particular hurry here to make his decision either. He's going to play a Temple of Abandon. Okay, here's Silumgar Scorn. That's going to counter the Whisperwood. And Paulo still on the same plan here. Crunch, crunch. He just keeps finding ways to keep the threats at bay long enough. He's at 11 life. Still just doesn't hit the land drop, though.
I wonder why Chris isn't playing the Genesis Hydra.
Yeah, he's going to find a dig through time. And a temple. Whoop! That one goes back on top.
I mean, you're just letting Paolo counter your spells rather than like playing the uncounterable Whisperwood, which is. I mean, I guess he doesn't know that he doesn't have Hero's Downfall or Ultimate Price or what have you, but there's a Nissa again. So Genesis Hydra here would for 5 would also get the Nissa, which is pretty solid.
Yeah, Genesis Hydra plus any of these 5s is fantastic for Paulo. Well, this game has crept to a bit of a halt here.
Yeah, the decisions are not.
Yeah, it was moving along pretty nicely, but these last couple of turns have taken a while. So.
Yep, there he is. All right, so we're going to Genesis Hydra for the full Monty here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So 7 it looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a plummet. I think we just get. Nissa doesn't even do that much here. I feel like this would have just been better if it was a Whisperwood. That's just my opinion. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but.
The Nissa's pretty great here.
Doesn't it just die to Ojutai?
Yes, but he gets to make a 4/4 trampler, but unfortunately he's tapped out here.
He dies to Crux, though. He just goes attack Nissa, Crux of Fate, kill your whole board.
Yeah, he just doesn't know about the Crux, and there's already been 1 Crux played. Paulo only has 2. So, once again, while it's a factor that he has to consider, it's not like he just knows that,
Interesting.
So he took Xenagos? Genesis Hydra is on stack still.
That was a lot of fast pointing there.
I'm still waiting for a counter to go on that Genesis Hydra down there. Or a die, I mean.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it should be 7/7. That's a sizable guy. The old 61/61 Genesis Hydra.
Should be good enough to prompt a Crux.
I imagine things are going to get cruxed. Yeah, free land off the top. We had not played a land this turn, so that's pretty sweet.
And another Courser of Crufix, alright. Make a Satyr token. Crunch.
I'm wondering what the...
this is adding up quickly here. Paulo's going to fall down to 7?
Yeah, I wonder what the plan is for Paulo after he cruxes, though, because we still know Chris has a Whisperwood Elemental in hand. He still has a Courser on top, which he can play both of when he untaps. Yeah, digging through time. Every time, like I said, every time someone has to dig through time, it just feels like they're going to pull so far ahead. Like, being able to sculpt your game plan from the top 7 cards is just so huge. So, still thinking on dig through time. This is like the Sensei's divining top of standard. Why 7 cards, you think?
The developers probably tweaked it until they thought it was powerful enough to be a sweet rare.
Start at 10, just keep bringing it down.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe they started at 4 and brought it up. Sure, they played with the casting costs as well.
Yeah,
and
makes
there's
sense.
the Hero's Downfall now to take down Xenagos. That's interesting.
Yeah, he didn't want to just attack it. He actually just use a spell on it. I guess because he gets another look at the top 3 from Ojutai by doing
I mean, he basically draws himself a card.
One, 2, 3 again. This is just real brutal. You think we're gonna see a Crux here?
Yeah.
I have to
Yep.
assume so when we have a.
He is facing lethal.
Now Paolo can actually play a land, keep up Silumgar Scorn and Crux of Fate. Or he can actually just. What if he just plays Silumgar and steals the
Hydra?
7/7?
Yeah,
I
it's
think that's what he's doing.
absolutely a play he can make here. It does play into
Plummet.
Fennel having Plummet, but the problem is I think that Paulo knows all of his cards, and also he knows the one he's about to draw. Sometimes Courser Crucifix is a negative.
That is true.
And he
And
finds
Paolo
a
also knows
forest.
he shuffled one Plummet back in the deck from the Genesis Hydra, so.
Mhm. Even if he gets it back, Paulo's not dead. Paulo takes 4 and drops down to 3.
Chris, however, is dead on the swing back. 1, 2, go to 10. Now he is not.
He should be at 10 life here.
Yep, 2 triggers there.
That was actually a pretty big draw, getting those extra couple of life.
Yeah, that life was actually very relevant.
Paulo had it all set up, but here's Whisperwood Elemental.
I was actually talking to Chris before this
resolve.
match started, and he was like, "Yeah, I've been planning. Like, I'll play my games. I'm playing real well. And I've been planning like 3 or 4 turns in advance, but then I'm just making these bonehead mistakes, like forgetting a life with Courser of Crucifix, for example." And I was like, I think everyone does that. You know, that's just like. I think if you don't do that, you're a robot. You know, that's just life.
Sure.
But interesting.
Well, you know, maybe he only wrote it down for one of them.
And that's also what I'm thinking. Like maybe that's what he did right there too. Maybe he just forgot that Courser life. Gain 1.
Paulo cannot get in the air for the win here. It's going to take him a couple of turns.
Man, Ojutai is so ridiculous.
Yeah, Ojutai's great.
Ojutai's the only dragon that consistently lets you gain card advantage, and also the only one that has built-in protection. Like Silumgar is easy to kill. Dromoka
Also
can
only
be
costs
killed.
5 mana.
It's also the cheapest dragon.
Yeah.
A target can easily be killed.
All right, so Ultimate Price is going to take down the Whisperwood Elemental, leaving Paulo Vitor with 2 big blockers up. He's got to maintain his life total of 7 here.
And up they go.
That's going to do it. So Paulo Vitor
2-1
is up 2-1. Now remember, that's not the match here. We're playing best 3 out of 5 in the finals, and in fact in the whole top 8. So we could have up to 2 more games between these 2 great players. It also could be 1 game if Paulo wins it.
It's been a good weekend though. Good weekend for coverage. And if you guys are looking to pick up any of these sweet cards you've seen today, you can head on over to TCPlayer.com, the largest marketplace for collectible gaming products. We have over 100 vendors to compete for your dollars, so you're going to get the lowest price on Cardfight Vanguard, Pokemon, HeroClix, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Magic, whatever your preferred game of choice is. So head on over to TCPlayer.com and pick up what you're looking for. And
What if I'm looking for a burrito?
Well, we do have some.
You said pick up what I'm looking for.
I can't lie to you. We don't have any food selections. That is,
All right.
we haven't expanded our
I'll
reach into that area yet.
I'll forgive you.
And one thing, the 2 players do have access to each other's sideboards. In the top 8 in the finals. So
yeah,
Paolo can look at Chris's deck. Chris can look at Paolo's deck, and they know exactly what each one is bringing in for the situation. So that's one advantage.
You can see Seth Manfield in the back.
He's got things to say.
Furiously typing away on his phone, probably tweeting.
I could send him a message right now, see if he responds, see if he checks it, and then you could just see him. You watch him check his phone and roll his eyes, and I'm like, I thought we were friends. So yeah, unfortunately, we didn't see very many, if any, sideboard cards from Chris Fennell.
Yeah, just
the 2 Nisses, I guess, and that was
Plummets and the Nisses.
Yeah, but the Plummet got shuffled back in. So.
Oh, you mean that we didn't
he
see
didn't
them
draw
actually
them and
pop up.
in action.
Yeah, I get you now.
He did not get to utilize any of his beneficial preferred cards.
I'm sure he would have preferred the alternative there.
And if you guys are not interested in buying cards, but rather selling, you can head on over to TCPlayer.com. You can list your items for free and get them sold fast. You can start selling with TCGplayer.com, whether you have a store or not. Individual sellers are also welcome, and you can list your card in minutes. So, got any Ojitais, you can throw them up there, no fees, and get them sold. Well, no listing fees, anyway.
Just put a burrito for sale in my TCG Player
working
store.
on it.
So yeah.
Yeah.
No, I just did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I figure I'll sell it myself.
Oh, all
yeah.
right, all right.
Near mint.
Yeah, we're looking to expand to burritoplayer.com. It's a little.
I'm in.
Not a lot of. We're still.
It's a tough sell.
We're working with the wordplay a little bit, but
All right. Yeah, you guys got to figure that
it's
part
in the
out.
pipe.
But I'm here. I'm ready.
The point is, it will revolve around burritos. Is really the.
Yeah, I mean, you had me at burrito.
Yeah, a lot of people at burrito. That is a tasty food. All right, let's see what these guys are working with here.
All right, so game 3 is almost upon us here. If Paulo picks this one up, that's it. He is our champion here.
Looks like Chris has got 2 lands, and that's all you can really ask for when you have things like Rattleclaw Mystic or Sylvan Carry added in hand. He does have is that a plummet? Maybe?
All right, Temple of Enlightenment ships a card, and Chris Fennell does have a turn 2 mana maker. You mentioned that a second ago, Frank, and this is
correct.
a pretty
That's a
important
good dude.
start here.
And like I said the other day, like this, I like this guy a little bit better than the other ones because he can actually attack.
Excuse me.
So if Chris needs to get aggressive here, you can just start turning the Rattleclaw Mystic sideways. And pass it back. And we see an Anticipate in Paolo's hand, which is definitely an option. Looks like there's also a Silumgar score in there. But I'm not sure if he has... Yeah, he's got a Silumgar as well. I'm always always surprised at the consistency. Always surprised at the consistency that the Esper deck has with drawing Silumgar Scorn. Like, sometimes I'm like, there's only 4 of those, right?
Yeah, it's true.
Oh no, this is gonna get scorned.
Yeah, it's not too bad, though. It is a Death Mist
I guess
Raptor.
that's fine.
Yeah.
It looks like a foil Death Mist Raptor, too.
It is.
Man, Chris Fennell's living the high life.
He doesn't mess around. Yeah, so this is going to get Silumgar Scorn, but it's going to go to the graveyard, which is a pretty safe place for a Death Mist Raptor to be, even from Fennell's perspective. And he's got a Temple of Abandon before he ships the turn back over to Paulo. Now, Paulo's got untapped lands, he's got tapped lands, he's got polluted Delta. He's cracking it immediately. What is he going to do? Foul Tongue here? Why would he want to crack this so quickly?
Doesn't have double blacks. It's not Here's Downfall. It might bounce. Yeah,
It's
Ashiok.
Ashiok.
Oh, that's a good dude. Let's see.
That's proactive.
That is proactive.
And you tend to hit a lot of creatures there, and you hit 2 out of 3.
Den, Mystic, and Xenagos. So...
This is going to provide a nice distraction here,
Yes, I agree.
as Fennell has to decide now if he wants to ignore Ashiok for a turn or 2 and keep using the mana from the Mystic, or if he wants to start sending the Mystic at
Ashiok
Ashiok.
going to 5 the first turn it comes into play is very good.
All right, well, this did open up the doors, though, and Chris Fennell's more than happy to walk through it with his Whisperwood Elemental here.
And a Manifesto.
And he passes the turn back. Okay, so Paulo still has active Ashiok, but the board state is getting bigger and bigger quite quickly for Chris Fennell. And he's actually going to make an Elvish Mystic here, which is pretty sweet. It helps his mana development. It also threatens to block the
Whisperwood Elemental.
Yeah, or the Mystic.
Hey, whatever.
Rattleclaw, yeah.
It'll block whatever it wants.
And he's got 3 mana up. Although, as you noted a minute ago, Frank, he does not actually have double black yet.
Correct.
Which is a potential issue here.
So it rules out Bioblights or Hero's Downfalls. We know he has Silmacar Scorn in hand, though. Or does he? Did he cast it, or did he...
Well, he did cast
he
one on
cast
the
it on the
Deathmist
Deathmist
Raptor,
Raptor,
yeah.
but does he have another? I thought I saw another in his hand.
I don't know. He's
I
got
know
it
he has
hidden.
Anticipate in hand as well.
He's got it deeply hidden from us here.
He keeps it on the DL. No, it looks like a dig through time or two, maybe?
Okay, Whisperwood Elemental's definitely attacking Ashiok. I don't know.
Yeah, Ashiok bites the dust.
Alright, looks like Paulo would rather hang on to the
Yeah, that's some devotion.
Mystic,
You
yeah.
want to keep that guy instead
So he
of
didn't
running
get a
for
whole
Ashiok?
lot out of Ashiok. It basically prevented a little life. That was about it. No cards, though, worth of advantage. Outside of the Elvish Mystic. Which Paulo seemed content with. You know, gain some life, get an Elvish Mystic, sure. Ooh, there's that plummet sitting on top of the library now for Fennel, though. It doesn't look great here.
It's a nice insurance policy for Chris.
Yeah, well, it's a real bummer for him, though, that Paulo's going to get to know about it, because Paulo actually has Silumgar, Dragonlord
Yeah,
Silumgar
but he
in
can't
hand.
tap out for it, you know?
I mean, he could and use
then
it to
just
kill the Whisperwood Elemental, but
That's true.
if Plummet's just going to kill it. The good news is that it's still effective against Whisperwood Elemental either way.
Well, doesn't matter now. It just got more manifested.
What did?
The plummet just got manifested from a Whisperwood Elemental.
Okay. Good call.
It was all for nothing.
Well, that's going to be a relief for Paulo, who can have a more reasonable expectation that his Dragonlord Silumgar is going to survive.
That's unfortunate for Chris because now he has to draw the Wooded Foothills, which is not an ideal draw.
No, not at all.
And
that
there's
was
Bile-Blight.
Bile-Blight, but here we go. 6 mana for Dragonlord Silumgar pointed at your Whisperwood Elemental. Chris will sack this in response. You don't want to let your opponent have it. They can always just sack it if it's going to go back either way. But it effectively acts as a 2-for-1 removal spell here. Flametongue Kavu, still good.
It's a Shriekmaw, yeah. It's a 3/5 flying, death-touching Shriekmaw.
Alright, so Whisperwood hits the bin. But thanks to that Elvish Mystic, Paul is able to power out that Dragonlord Silumgar, which is threatening to stabilize the board now.
Where's a Dragonlord Atarka when you need it? Play this freebie. Go to 21.
Yeah, Dragonlord Atarka would be pretty ill here. Clear the way for a mighty attack.
Yeah, kill the Silumgar. Attack for 6.
Yeah, he doesn't have it, though. Alright, there we go.
Speak of the devil.
Dragonlord Atarka.
Get in there for 6.
Kill that thing and rumble. So this is exactly what Fennel wanted to do.
Paula goes to 6. Or to 12, rather. Takes 6 damage. And now even Crux of Fate naming dragons or non-dragons. Like, it's... Chris still has a threat either way. Turns this one face up because that's the one Paolo knew about.
Yeah, just sort of making it easier for them to discern the board state.
It's known information, so I always appreciate when people do that. What's he thinking of doing here? He's got an Ojitai. I don't think that does anything, though. He might have to dig through time.
He's not
Yeah,
the
he's
best
definitely
here.
digging.
He's digging.
I don't know what you can get here. Ultimate Price? No, Ultimate Price doesn't kill Artarka.
But he can go land Downfall, which would help out quite a bit. He would still take about 6-ish, either 4 or 6 damage, but
depending on whether the Brittleclaw Mystic got in the red
he's got
zone.
some life total to work with here at 12. But yeah, he's going to need to deal with Dragonlord Atarka pretty soon here.
It's not an ideal situation for him.
Alright, well, he did find a Hero's Downfall.
Now it's just whether you take the land and play it.
Yeah, he's got the Mystic.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so he's good.
Can do it either way.
Man, that Mystic's been doing some work for him,
Yeah,
surprisingly.
it really has.
Yep, he took a Temple of Deceit anyway, it looked like. Play it. Scry.
And then he continues to just
Gonna
churn
hide that
through
one
that
above.
library like this deck does. Scry lands plus hits with Ojutai plus actual anticipate plus dig through time means you get to see a lot of cards. Got to feel like every one of those transactions that happens helps Paulo and leverage his skill.
And he also
you know,
takes
higher
one
and higher.
from the Caves of Koilos, so he's actually taking 7 here. Going to 5. Draw Rattleclaw Mystic. Rattleclaw Mystic.
Yeah, well, this isn't great. Now, there is a Death Mist Raptor in the graveyard, though, for Fennel, and so the Mystic does give him a way to get that back.
That's true. Plus, like, without a Crux of Fate, Palos just doesn't have a real efficient way to deal with all these creatures. I think you just turn them all sideways and crush in there. Just rumble.
If he does that, Paulo will probably block the Rattleclaw Mystic with the Elf and then kill a Tarka.
Well, that's actually fine, because then when you flip up the other Rattleclaw Mystic, it's not as bad when it Bile Blights. So it's probably not a viable target at that point.
Yeah. You also take Paulo off of another mana, which
Gain
can matter.
He might actually just shuffle away the second Rattleclaw Mystic, because it's not a very solid draw.
Oh, no, yeah, he doesn't want that guy.
He had a mountain. That's what you want to see on top.
Hello. Genesis Hydra on top, so that's a nice one there for Fennel. He'll be drawing that next turn. And is he going to line up the big attack here or what?
Oh, that's a Genesis Hydra from the hand. A Xenagos would be ideal here.
He bricked.
2 Genesis Hydras in there.
Yeah, he's going to get a Caryatid out of this? No, I guess it's a Rattleclaw Mystic, but still. That is not exciting for...
I think whenever there's a card
Hydra.
like Genesis Hydra on the top, I think I'd just rather draw it. Like, it's just much better being cast.
Yeah, he's setting up something here.
I mean, I have to imagine he's setting up the way. Is Paolo tapping his creatures for him?
Well, I'm pretty sure that
Or you
Chris
just-
just said attack with everything.
Oh, okay. I was like, is he just taking the initiative and saying, look, just attack with these, please?
No, nothing like that.
Yeah, that's much worse than a Genesis Hydra. Block Rattleclaw Mystic, perhaps?
Probably. It's the only trade he can make here. He can't prevent any more damage. And then he gets to take down the Dragon Lord. Now, the other option is that he could take the full 8 here if he really values that Elvish Mystic in a big way. Okay,
Maybe.
so Otarka down.
So he goes to 11. Does he take 8 and go to 3 is the question. He didn't assign blocks, so yeah, it looks like he goes to 3.
Yep, he's down to 3. He needs a huge draw here. Remember, Fennel's at 22.
Oh,
And that's going to do it.
going to
All
the
right.
Final,
Only
like the
one way to
final
do it.
round.
We get a game 5 here. Yeah, we're getting our money's worth.
That's true. Definitely.
Speaking
getting
of
our
money,
money's
these guys are playing for quite a bit of it. $12,000 to first,
worth. And 6,000 to second.
6K to second.
Reasonable prize payout. Both of these guys are walking away a little richer than they came here with. That's more than I've ever won in a single Magic event, that's for sure. There
goes the calculator.
Christian Calcano in the background. I
Off to
also
find
saw
some draft or
Craig
something.
Wesco there. But if you guys are have any of your own cards you want to get rid of or make some extra cash with, you can start listing your items for free and get them sold fast on TCGplayer.com. Not only limited to storefronts, individuals can sell on TCGplayer as well now. So join the largest collectible card marketplace on the internet. And if you're buying cards from TCG Player, make sure you take advantage of TCG Player's new TCG Player Direct. Everything comes in one package. You get free shipping and a perfect delivery guarantee. And cards are also graded by our certified grading team. So make sure you hit up TCG Player Direct and look into it, because it is a very great deal for anyone who wants their products quick and in the condition that they ordered them.
All right, so one last sideboard session for these gentlemen, and
then we're done.
we will be
Call it
deciding
a
a winner.
Well, we don't get to decide. They're going to decide it for themselves.
It's true.
Look at this Seth Manfield. Probably waiting on Chris Fennell.
He is.
So the good thing about the going into Game 5 is that these guys are pretty well sideboarded now. Like, there's not a lot of decisions to be made in between the fourth and fifth game.
Yeah, just sort of play draw decisions.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
I would definitely like to take take a survey and get an idea of how many games are won on the play and won on the draw.
Well, the ones I've seen, it is of course format dependent, but the ones I've seen have beat on the play worth about 3 or 4% more.
Interesting.
Yeah. So nothing monumental, but it is something.
Yeah, oh, it's definitely something. Every little bit. And it looks like we're drawing our opening hands here, which is sweet.
Even sweeter would be a pair of keeps.
I like a good keep.
All right, so Chris Fennell has a 4-lander with a Raptor, a Xenagos, and a Sylvan Caryatid, and Paulo, I'm assuming, is going to take the Xenagos, though I have seen him aggressively go after mana creatures if his hand lines up in the right way. I would assume Deathmist Raptor's the last choice, just because you don't want it in the yard, and it looks like Fennell's
Chris is trying to lead him in that direction.
urging Paulo to take it.
What do you take here?
Well, I can't see Paulo's hand, so I don't know.
Yeah, Xenagos
like I said, I would assume Xenagos.
A pretty solid choice, and Chris just drew on the land.
It's the best threat that he has.
Not the best hand from Chris.
No, it's a pretty slow hand, actually, and he is on the draw as well, so Paulo Viter's going to get to do some work here, potentially.
Sylvan Caryatid, as we expected.
There's a turn 3 Ashiok target you.
That's real good. Oh, triple lands. All right, Chris is probably thanking him right now.
This is pretty interesting. It's an aggressive line from Paulo. He's got
there's a
Ashiok all the way up to 5 at this early stage.
There's a D-Lord Atarka. So we can go Wooded Foothills, cast Deathmist Raptor. Yep. Imagine that's the play here. That Ashiok's going to get pretty obnoxious. Probably going to save Paulo quite a bit of damage.
I mean, if he can protect it long enough, it could also just be his win condition.
It could just be a win condition, yeah. This is very early in the game for that, and Chris doesn't have much of an offense here.
Yeah, he summoned a grand total of 0 power so far, so...
That is correct. Oh, we've got a record broken.
All right, so there's a Raptor. But it looks like Paulo has multiple answers for it. He's got an Ultimate Price and a Bile Blight. And he even hit here.
And a Courser of Krufix. Oh yeah, good guy Chris Fennell, making sure Paulo knows there was a Courser of Krufix in there.
Chris wants the rules enforced perfectly.
It doesn't have to go under it though. That's the thing. It could still be it's still exiled.
Mm-hmm.
Just alerting Palo is not completely necessary. So I can appreciate that. Hit that dude. Go down to 4.
All right, so Deathmist Raptor rumbles, but Ashiok still feels healthy.
Asher goes to 6. Deathmist Raptor brings it to 3. Goes up to 5. Deathmist brings it to 2. You can say it's kind of it's going to be a grueling back and forth if Deathmist Raptor is the only creature. Nope, and that's even worse.
to kill the Deathmist Raptor post combat.
Yeah, he does it end of turn just to make sure that nothing else more relevant got played.
That's right. And back up to back down to 1. So Courser crew fix, and bang, Paulo hits right away.
That's a sweet play right there.
Yeah, he even hits a polluted delta. So if he wants, he can shuffle away.
If he wants that Dismal Backwater, he can draw it. If not, see you later, Dismal Backwater.
Yeah, this is looking really good for Paulo in the early stages. Now we've got a lot of game to play here, but if we were going to call it right now, Paulo's the one who's out to a sprint and
I agree
Finale.
with you.
Now the haymakers are going to start coming down for Finale, and Paulo's going to be tested on having as many answers as he can.
Chris draws Nykthos. Not ideal when you have like 3 other lands in hand or 2 other lands in hand and only 1 green devotion right now. It's like we do have Genesis Hydra. Gonna try to cast that dude for 4. Paolo's like, sure.
Well, he's already hit something. Wow, not too bad.
Pretty good.
He's going to get a Courser out of the deal.
Probably just get the Courser out of the deal.
Just got to shuffle these ones in.
Yeah, the worst is hitting a Den Protector with Genesis Hydra.
That's the second worst.
What's the first worst?
Missing.
Just not hitting at all. That is a good point. Make this dude 4/4.
Well, let's see if Paulo has an answer. I know he's got the an ultimate price in his hand, and that's a nice one to take down that Hydra as a 4/4. He can still keep the
Hail Hydra.
he can still keep the Courser back to block the other Courser and keep Ashiok ticking upwards.
Ashiok keeps on ticking.
This is really working for Paulo. I really like the line he's taken. I like the position he's in here. Maybe he even gets to fire off like a dig through time here.
I feel like this Courser of Crewfix just puts his deck over the top. I'm just going to build Esper with green for Courser of Crewfix.
Like he's 1 mana short from dig, but
I mean, he's got a freebie on top.
don't actually know what's going on right now.
Assuming
that Chris Fennell has passed the turn back and that Paulo's in the tank about what he wants to actually play here.
I mean, if these guys are as exhausted as we are, I imagine it's pretty grueling playing, back-to-back best-of-5 matches in the elimination rounds.
Yeah, these guys are crazy. They stay up all night playing Werewolf, too.
That's true. Among other things.
Werewolf world champs over here. Fennell? He's absurd. He told me this weekend that he just wishes his greatest gift paid more. It's Werewolf. Okay, so that's what was happening. Genesis Hydra itself was on the stack, and Paulo decided to counter it.
Oh, man, I thought that Genesis Hydra resolved like a year ago.
Yeah, so it was the triggered ability.
That resolved.
Right, but the reason why there weren't dice on it yet is because the Genesis Hydra itself was
and
still
Paulo wanted to wait to see what was on the top of the deck. He's like, reveal first, and then we'll see if it resolves.
Yeah, and he had multiple answers for creatures on the ground, but decides to use a Silumgar Scorn here on it, and that way he can use an ultimate price to keep the ground completely clear here. We need to cover up the Mystic up there. Ooh, and there's a Hero's Downfall. He's going to get the Mystic. 1, 2, and there's the third one, so...
Which is actually kind of sweet, because you don't want to really draw that, but again, you can just draw a regular land. So, that's the randomness of Magic right there. Could be a great draw, could be a terrible draw.
This is a nice one for Paulo.
This Ashiok is real well protected. This guy's doing some hard work. And I like how Paolo's just satisfied getting like the non-impressive creatures out of Chris's deck, like Courser of Crufix or Elvish Mystic, and just having them work really hard for him. Is he gonna dig through time? Oh, nope, just pass it back to Chris. Is that a plummet? I feel like it's not looking great for Chris.
No, Chris is definitely behind here. Paulo has active Ashiok, has his own copy of Courser Crufix to not only protect it, but get him card advantage off the top of his library. Hitting land drops in this deck is really important. Paulo is significantly ahead here. He's also got multiple cards in hand and a bunch of untapped mana, so theoretically he's got some answers here for even if Chris Fennell finds a big threat to play. So, yeah, Paulo's working his way towards the championship here, but Fennell has made it difficult on him. They're in the 5th game.
Yeah.
We played best of 5 games in the whole top 8 here,
Chris
so
is
it's been a
definitely
bit of a
fight.
grind. Yeah.
There's a Nykthos.
And it's going to be Dragonlord Atarka.
Let's see if
now,
that
Paulo
resolves.
used a Silmgar score in the last turn on.
Yeah, even if Paulo digs,
Genesis
he doesn't
Hydra.
have 3. He doesn't have 4 blue. He only has 2.
If this resolves,
I feel like it does.
Fennell can use it to finish off Ashiok or even kill his own stolen Courser of Crufix.
I feel like you gotta hit
can't do both,
Ashiok
though.
here.
Yeah, it depends on how you see it. I
I
mean,
guess that's true. I mean, it's just
The
leaving
Courser is-
Ashiok gives him the potential to just take more things. He said 2-3, I would imagine.
yeah,
Oh,
it's-
interesting. 4 and 1.
yeah, I mean, it makes sense though, right? Because the Dragonlord Atarka can kill the Ashiok, but can't really, kill the Courser. Like, he doesn't have a way to kill Courser.
right, but he knows there's a Hero's Downfall right on the top of Paulo's deck, so
true.
he knows that the dragon's just dead.
Yeah, I just don't know if Ashiok really matters that much here. It might down the line, but right now,
I don't feel like Chris has a lot of pressure to deal with it in the future because it's going up to 4 on Paulo's turn.
it's true.
Kills the Atarka. It goes up to 6 on Paulo's turn.
No, it is a threat.
It's like it's a lot of ticking up there.
There's a Bile Blight off the top for Paulo, who also has a few lands in his hand. He's got a Dragonlord Ojutai. Paulo's at 17 life, facing down the massive 8/8 Trampler, Dragonlord Atarka.
This is a thoughtful scry. Alright, put it on the bottom. Did not want it. No, sir. Yep, this guy up to 4. Oh, just gets an Elvish Mystic.
Okay, get a little value.
And obviously wait to kill Atarka.
And back in the tank we go.
Yeah, Plummet looks like an Elvish Mystic maybe in hand. Or behind that Plummet.
All right, so Atarka is going to attack Ashiok.
And
This is going to draw the Hero's Downfall
yeah,
from
I imagine.
Paulo.
Oh, interesting.
No, he's going to let that happen. He figures Ashiok not that important to his long-term game plan, I guess. Mystic Land, pass.
So Chris has 1 card left in hand. I think it's a Plummet.
Okay, you are correct. So Paulo's going to use up all of his mana this turn, even some of the mana in his graveyard via Delve, and play a Dig Through Time. Eventually, Paulo has Dragonlord Ojutai to sort of clean up all the mess, but he's got to deal with this board first. Mainly Dragonlord Atarka, which he has the answer for, as he's inching closer to that trophy and the 12,000 bucks that await.
And he gets a sweet cup to drink his beverages out of.
That's not bad. All right, anticipate for Paulo. This game has slowed a bit in pace, shall we say.
To say the least.
But I do feel like we are working our way towards a winner here. Fennell's kind of clinging to this Dragon Lord Atarka, hoping that that's what's going to get the job done, but Paulo has answers for it. And he's going to take a hit from it, but he's given himself
interesting
Dragon Lord Ojutai now. A bold play from Paulo. He says, yeah, sure, whatever. Take your 8/8 flying trample. What do I care? And Fennell's going to crack his wooded foothills here. Try to thin out that deck as much as he can.
Goes down to 17 here. That's another Dragon Lord Atarka.
Was that what that was?
Yeah.
All right, well, he's rumbling. So, Dragon Lord Atarka gets in the red zone. She does 8, dropping Paulo down to 9.
If Paulo doesn't have a counterspell, this Plummet's just going to take down Dragon Lord.
It is true. Now, Paulo does have a backup plan for Dragon Lord Atarka, though.
Can you just draw a Silver Scorn? That would be the most amazing thing I've ever seen. No, it's another Ashiok, looks like.
Yes.
I do not see a counterspell.
No.
See, Hero's Downfall, Ultimate Price, Ashiok, and
Wild Blight.
Wild Blight. Be Blight, if you will. Always be Blight.
The coast is clear for Dragon Lord Ojutai here to swing.
Or so he thinks.
Yeah, looks like that at least.
Meticulously tapping his mana. There's another Ashiok.
And you'll notice our voices have lowered a bit here. We're in a relatively small room, and the players aren't that far away, so we just don't want to go screaming.
I don't want to risk someone hearing us.
Yeah. So forgive us if we've become
lower.
A little bit lower on your decibel meter. All right, so Den Protector's what he finds here, and he's just going to pass the turn back with Dragon Lord Ojutai up.
He can attack. He kills it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's Downfall. He plays another Atarka. It kills Ashiok. He still has 2 up for Plummet. So this is an interesting game.
This has gotten pretty sweet, yeah.
I feel like things have just really gone a different direction here. Yeah, let's try it again. Kill your Ashiok.
Does 5 damage.
Yeah,
it's exactly enough. So Ashiok down.
And he still has.
Of course, the ultimate price in hand for Paulo Vitor Damaderosa is not going to get it done against Atarka.
Yeah, ultimate price is a little obnoxious against Atarka. Is this an anticipate? Or
I think it's a dig.
Time, yep.
This is a really important dig through time, too.
It is. He needs it. He's probably going to hit a counter spell. 3. XL 5. Another Ashiok as well.
All right, here's dig through time. This is a huge dig here for Paulo. He needs to find an answer for either the board or Dragon Lord Atarka. Now, I saw that he's got a Crux of Fate in there. He found Crux
naming dragons.
and Hero's Downfall.
Naming dragons when you have a dragon out is not that
And, well,
great.
it beats the hell out of dying.
That's true. I'm not going to argue that. He's going to probably Hero's Downfall.
But he's got Hero's
Ojutai's going to
Downfall.
crack in, and then he's going to probably plummet.
And it's going to get plummeted.
Get plummeted on. Yeah, this could be, this could work out in Chris's favor here.
You know, this is kind of funny because if Paulo sniffs this out, he could actually kill
Here he comes.
ahead of time. All right, he's not going to. So here we go. That's dead. That leaves Chris Fennell with 2 mana available.
Boom.
And this is plummet
Yep.
to kill it. But
We were waiting for that plummet all
He
game.
knew that was possible. He passes the turn back, and he is now stabilized. But this is a potential opening here.
He does have a Nissa, don't forget.
Fennell?
Yeah, I think he has Nissa in hand. No, whoa, whoa.
Uh-oh, is this going to be the
This is
biggest
gonna
Genesis Hydra ever?
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Doesn't actually get that much mana off of the Nykthos.
Yeah,
but
he's actually just tapping it for colorless, I imagine.
yeah. Still, this is going to be for a ton. Yeah, it is. A Genesis Hydra for $1 million.
He kept one up too, which is interesting.
I don't actually know why he did that. There's no Silumgar scored mana available, so that wasn't a thing.
Oh, because if he hits Nissa, then
he
he
wants
can
to be able to attack
yeah,
with it, obviously.
That's great play.
Yeah, and we just had to wait for Chris to show us
I
exactly
mean,
what.
this is real good for Chris.
Yeah,
like,
this is fantastic.
You're gonna need more
for
than
Chris
Crux of
Fennell.
Fate in this position. Ultimate price, the
No,
Genesis
he's going to
Hydra.
counter the Genesis Hydra.
Disdainful Stroke. Okay.
Yep, that's the only mana he had available.
Chris is gonna be like, no, I'm already attacking. You
no,
missed
Chris
your
wouldn't do
window.
that.
No, definitely. Everyone plays against those players that are like, they think Magic's giving them speed.
This is a huge issue here.
Yeah, agreed. Especially because Pella had to use his Hero's Downfall on the Atarka, so now he's stuck with an ultimate price that doesn't really do anything against Nissa or the Forest grades. I mean, he does have a block, but the trees have trample.
Yep.
And he makes the second one this turn, so
Yeah, this is really
Is
bad
Nissa
for
gonna win
Paulo.
this game for Chris?
Absolutely could. Fennell could be our winner. It looked like Paulo had it in the middle part of the game, but the Dragonlord Atarka really stuck around and was a problem for Paulo, just outclassing his threats, and that timely plummet to take down Ojutai meant that the steady stream of cards wasn't flowing. And now Fennell found himself...
Ashiok's not going to do it here. Courser, a Hornet Queen, and a Xenagos, but
I mean, these are all fine long-term plans. It's just the
We
question
need
of,
to
is
deal with
Paulo
things in the
have
short
long
term.
Yeah. And Paulo passes a turn back.
What's happening right now?
This could be it. Okay, make another 4/4 Trampler.
Right.
Line up the big
He
attacks.
attacks with everyone, because even if he chump blocks one of the forests, he still get 8 in there. So he's probably going to chump block Bile Blight. I guess he could Bile Blight the forest. Takes one, kills the other, right? Is that... They both have the name Forest?
You know, I think they do actually have the name Forest. Like, maybe...
That seems
so
okay.
I think it would... Yeah, shrink one of them down to 1 and trade for the other, which is actually pretty great for Paulo. Especially because those are coming at him. Which means he's actually going to get to use his Ashiok to make a creature next turn here. This has him taking 2 damage and dropping to 2. Wow, this is just about as close as they get here. I mean, Paulo needs some serious help, but he's doing his best to help himself. He can actually ultimate price the elf.
Not right now, though. He doesn't have a second black.
Ah, you're correct. So he's going to use his mana up by getting back Dragonlord Ojutai. That's the most efficient way. And wow, this is just so... Oh, and it's another Genesis Hydra for Fennell.
He's like, all right, let's resolve that guy first. 1, 2, 3. Oh, he's gonna make devotion for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Genesis Hydra for 5.
All right, well, let's see what he hits here. He found Xenagos.
That could seal the deal. Because it just turns off so many options from Crux of Fate. Like now Cruxa doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I wonder
Not
if he
like
would
it
have
did
done
before,
that
but
pre-combat. What would have happened?
Man,
All right, either way,
this is just too much. I think.
huge pressure. I don't think that Paulo can get out of this.
I have to agree with you.
Yeah, I think Fennell is going to take this thing down. Crazy game.
Red-green devotion.
We've seen a lot of that here this weekend throughout the course of the Invitational here in Vegas. And it looks like it may just take this thing down. Paulo is going through his options.
He's at 1 life.
But he's down to 1 life facing
Just
like
in case.
5 threats plus 2 more to join no matter what with haste next turn. Like, it's just... He does have to double check everything, but he can use his Ashiok to make a Courser.
So Chris has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 relevant creatures on board. and he can make 2 more next turn. That's 7 creatures. I don't think Paulo's going to deal with 7.
That's going to do it. Chris Fennell is our winner. Such a close one. High fives for his friends. Congratulations, Chris Fennell. And, of course, congratulations for Paulo as well. He's going to be our runner-up here. He earned $6,000.